Welcome back to On the Cusp. I've got my co-host Matt Snyder with me here again. I don't know how many episodes, Matt, we've done.
We're in a lot now.
I know. We don't even keep track of the number
I'm running
anymore.
out of shirts.
Yeah. we try to change shirts on a regular basis, not wear the same shirt. But I'm going to let Matt introduce our guest because this is really special.
Meg, so Katy Larsen, Agora Borealis. Mm-hmm. I've known you a long time. I don't even really remember how we met.
Multiple times.
Probably. I mean, just over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one cool thing about Shreveport is as you're doing things, you just meet other people that are doing things.
Yes.
And so
the names fly.
We just meet and then you can figure out what that looks like. But I've always admired you for a lot of reasons. One being I love people that just jump and just take risk on areas of town that other people wouldn't, that, you know, ideas. And me and Dave always go back and forth, but you know, I'm a lover of culture, and I think Shreveport culture matters so much and needs so much
I'm a
energy.
lover of jobs. I want people to generate jobs.
Yeah, we want both.
And I think they simultaneously
do.
collide.
See, that's my approach.
But people like you inject culture into our society, whether
we
people
like it or
want
not.
it or not. and I admire you for that. And you also, I think you are loud and out there and in the arts and all that, but people that know you like I know you, you're also a very savvy and smart business person.
I appreciate that.
And so I admire you for that. So when EP brought you up, I was like, yes, that will be a fun conversation. So let's just start from the beginning and kind of talk about Agora Borealis and maybe start by telling people that don't know what Agora Borealis really is.
Okay.
And the idea behind it.
Actually, funny thing, I watched a documentary called Death by China, and talking about how our money is like flowing in the wrong direction. It's not really being put back into our own communities. Everything is being imported, and we don't have enough export going out. So I really took that to heart, and I was like, you know, I want to be sustainable in business. I want to show that it can happen, that I can prove concept. I'm in the arts, that's my background. I have a degree in interior design and architecture, and so cultural resources and preservation. So talking about saving downtown through the efforts of having an artist marketplace. And so my family invested in a downtown building. It created space for my marketplace and other businesses now, which we'll get into later, but Agora Borealis actually means the northern marketplace. Okay. So Agora in Greek is marketplace and Borealis is northern. So we are the artist marketplace that is for North Louisiana. So we're really housing over 350 artists, everything from soap to furniture. We have several galleries that we show 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional art in, bringing culture, of course. We support all of the artists from every wake of life. It doesn't matter if it's music or if it's the written word or if it's a painting or if it's a craft.
Yeah, I love that too because so many places like that, and when I'm like in a city and I'm walking and you see these little markets, so many times it's so like, I don't want to call it lower level, but startup crafts and arts. And your place, I remember one of the first times I walked in, and I'll never forget that huge, it was like a huge piece of lumber. It was like a log turned into, and it was unbelievable, like high-end artistry. And you have such a wide variety of arts.
Yes.
That to me is what makes that like opened my eyes when I saw your space. This is not just, you know, every kid that's just sketching.
Well, what made you pick downtown? Talk about that journey.
Okay, so having a background in architecture, you learn about urban planning, and what you find is that a city over a 25 to 50 year span will go through a cycle where it is going to expand and shrink and expand. So when that happens, the core is where people will stay. So downtown is a core hub, and while a city is shrinking or downsizing, it will still have those core placements, which downtown is one of. And even when it expands, then the core becomes the strongest hub. So again, I picked downtown because I knew that no matter what happens in our city, as it moves and changes, that downtown will always be a core place.
That's key, and I like that.
That's smart.
That is smart.
It's a different way of looking at it.
Definitely.
Than anybody's
because
talked
when,
about.
When businesses come to me, you know, they say, oh man, I'd love to be downtown, but at 5 o'clock, everybody leaves. They don't stay downtown.
True. Sometimes that's true. But then you also have to think about the patterns in which people move. So for me, we're on one of the corridors. Marshall is one of the corridors into Highland and South Highland. So we're catching people as they're leaving the downtown area, and we're open till 6. So we're that one little hour behind 5 o'clock that allows them to still make their stop in. We're also available for lunchtime crowds, and we also try to help with neighboring businesses to collaborate to create a hub again inside the downtown area that people want to, you know, come and visit during their lunch hour or, you know, after business as well.
Well, you're definitely a destination too. I mean,
I appreciate it.
Every time that I've ever been to your shop, which is many, I have like said, hey, I want to go by Agora Borealis for this, or I want to do that. And so I think when there is an area of town that is struggling or is not thought of on top of mind as much as others, you need somebody like a Katy Larsen to say, boom, here's a reason to come.
Right.
I mean, the aquarium you talk about all the time is the same thing.
Right.
The aquarium.
You know, like,
it's a
make
destination.
me come there. Make me have a reason on a Saturday to come downtown. And
And
that's what you're doing.
That's also like what we had talked about earlier is like, that's so important because when you start to get multiple businesses doing the same thing, bringing people in, being a destination, people start to create a plan for visiting us because they're like, oh, we could go to the aquarium and we can also stop at the Agora Borealis and we can go down to the lot, which is now I think the station. And, you know, so there's not one destination, but multiple destinations. And then they have a reason to spend the night.
That's right.
And they have a reason to have multiple meals here. They have a reason to go visit.
And that is changing. Because, I mean, I remember just 5 years ago, you'd go see a show at the Strand. Well, you were going to eat somewhere else, you were going to go to the Strand, you were going to get out of there.
Right back out. Right.
And now I do think you're right. I mean, the downtown is starting to have, I think it's a long process, it's a hard process.
It is.
And it takes people taking risks.
But Katy, would you say a lot of people avoid those downtown buildings because they think it's hard to renovate and get it in the condition that they want? Did you face any of that? Any of those challenges?
Our building is built in 1927, so it has a long history of, you know, some of it being that it wasn't taken care of properly. So yes, I can see people facing those kinds of challenges, but to be really honest, there's some really wonderful spaces that are very available and very inexpensive to where you can invest low and then use the rest of your money to fix it, bring it up to date. Also, there are lots of opportunities to, you know, get help from the state and the federal systems that I feel people might not know about or take advantage of. Again, I was very fortunate in the fact that when I moved here I'm from the Dallas area. I went to tech, graduated. My husband's family has been here since the 30s with their business. So I was going to be here anyways. And so when there was a chance to invest back in our city, my family did so. Not everybody has that same opportunity, but there are other ways to still go about it.
Well, you know, the way I've kind of looked at downtown is there's so much going on. There are a lot of buildings that have been redone.
Oh, yeah.
And there are more and more getting done every day.
Yes.
It's just, to me, I always look for that tipping point where what business do we really need? What do we need there to where we could get it in there, hit that tipping point. And when that happens, that's where things
And there's
change.
been some,
Success.
and I think it takes a lot of tipping points because there has been those. Robinson Film Center to me is a huge one.
I agree.
Rhino down there is a big
Agree.
one. Agora Borealis is a big one to me. The aquarium.
I love.
I think it just takes
Jim Malsh's building.
Jim Moss.
Yeah,
Oh my,
Andrus.
look at that. I mean, look at how many people were working in there, which I bet none of them were working downtown
Oh, yeah.
previous to that. So hopefully people seeing
We got to
the
build
Jim
enough
Moss and the
momentum. I
Katys
keep looking for that point.
that people
Someone else
follow.
came in to see us the other day. Great idea. We're with you. We think it'll work. I just want more and more people to hear that story and understand that there's more and more going in there every day, people willing to take that risk, and we're going to hit that tipping point.
Well, let me go harder. Let me give you one hard question.
No.
Because I think this is like, and I don't know how I would answer this for you, but I don't run your business and know. Would you make more money if you were on Uri Drive or Line Avenue?
I don't believe so. For a couple reasons. If I was on Uri, I think you would just get lost in the sauce. And the people going to Uri have a completely different mindset than my clientele.
Right.
Actually, to be real honest, 60 to 70% of our clientele is actually visitors. It's not our own locals. Yeah.
What?
From my analytics every month, it's always people from out of town because we're a destination. We're not, and like, so a lot of times
That's
people.
That's incredible.
That is.
So, and because of a couple of things, like the stigma behind downtown, going downtown, stopping downtown, blah, blah, blah. But people from out of our area are like, downtown, yeah, this is awesome. So so Uri is not my people, my clientele a lot of times. That's a different type. That's the big box chain. That's the I can order the same thing every time and get the same exact, detail. If I was on Line Avenue, that is still same type of clientele, I feel, but maybe it would be more expensive for me to have property,
it surely would. Yeah.
And on top of that, talking about parking and stuff, like Line Avenue, I don't see their parking being any better than where I am, to be honest.
No, that's why I created Tinsel, was because you can't walk and shop anywhere in Shreveport.
Agreed.
Love
that idea.
So, I mean, and Tinsel, that's interesting you said it because I've never heard anybody else say this, but I always say, I don't know how this happened, but we get 400 shoppers and half of them are not from Shreveport.
Right? The people come in, we're a destination. And I don't think people realize that because think about the closest things to us are Little Rock, are, Dallas, are way past. I don't even gonna say anything on the east side. It's like, whatever.
Right.
And then, so we're really
that is a thing. And we don't market to that. We don't talk about that.
We forget to.
Long time ago.
You and I argue about, and all the economic development gangs argue about what's our real MSA, all right? And we say the MSA for Shreveport is South Arkansas, East Texas, all the way down to Alexandria.
Exactly.
That's what we're really, what we really represent.
That's our reach.
And that is what comes to Shreveport.
Yeah.
That's what spends their money here. So the more we do downtown, and this is really encouraging, what you're saying, the more we do downtown, the better off we are because we are a destination. Now, is there any one event that takes place in Shreveport, Bossier that really draws people into your store? What are they? I mean,
okay, a couple, but I'm also going to say I want to get back to this idea. I think there's some ideas that would need to happen downtown for us to be successful too. So I'll get back to that.
Don't lose that because I'd love to hear them.
Okay. Some of the events, of course, are going to be Prize Fest. I mean, that brings thousands of people. I mean, like we're bringing people from all over the nation, all over the world into Shreveport. They specifically make sure to visit all of the restaurants that they work with, and all of the businesses downtown are involved. It drives a lot of business. Revel, another great example. They have partnered this year. Logan did a great job of partnering with businesses downtown to make sure that we're also getting some of those people in our spaces
that is great
that fall in love.
Logan gets it.
Oh, totally.
He's one of those guys. Like, I love that he's down there.
And then, like, the farmers market. Love the farmers market. I love the idea of produce, which will bring me back into the idea of we need a grocery store downtown.
Yep.
And I had the idea multiple times, which I cannot do all the things.
That's
but
right.
if I could, I would.
We're bad about that.
I am good at saying no now, but I really want to see the farmers market have a secondary and third. Like, we're a great winter, crop area where we can grow things through the winter. We should have a winter farmers market, and we should also be celebrating that and bringing the food from the farmers market that's left over to downtown and a place where they can get it all week long. And those things can be delivered because we have that system, or a pickup system. Again, something like the station now. You could do a drive-through where it's a drive-through pickup. Everything is there for people to shop, or to pick up.
It is hard when you have an area that you want people to live in.
Yes.
that you can't get groceries or gas.
Or gas.
Yes,
That's the other-
there is no
Those
gas.
are the big, like, there
Now,
needs to be a gas station and there needs to be
There's a reason why
grocery.
there's not a gas station, and that I can tell you from urban planning. It's really dangerous to have a gas pump anywhere near large buildings because once something happens that could go wrong, it's a higher risk. So a lot of people are not going to pay the insurance to have that type of risk.
Yeah.
But
Right.
at the edges, just
At
at
the
those
edge,
tiny edges
yeah.
and not the Triple J, I'm so sorry. I'm glad that they're redoing their area, but it's still, I would not stop there.
Yeah,
you know?
Katy, let's go back because we can't lose
Okay.
what you were talking about. What do we got to change downtown?
Oh, so again, having the availability to live downtown sustainably needs to happen. I think we still need to have industry in our area, like things that are sustainable long term for people to live here. Also thinking about, here's one of the jewels of Shreveport. It is such an easy place to live because of the expense. Like, it's not expensive to live here.
Right.
You could have
That comes up every time.
Everybody.
You could live here on
Trust me,
pennies
I
of
left
where you
DC to
could.
come home.
Right. Think about
Okay.
California. Think about New York. Think about DC. Think about Florida. Think about Texas. Think about these places that are becoming so expensive to live in that people are being priced out. We do not have that problem here. You can live here for very little, and you can start things with very little effort by the grace of other people wanting to collaborate with you or see the efforts
That's
that
right.
you're putting in.
You can have an amazing lifestyle and have enough money to travel pretty
Oh, yes.
elaborately from
Yes.
Shreveport because you're not tapped out on your living.
Yes, exactly.
And I mean, that's a huge, and Shreveport's an easy place to travel from.
And I love that we have
Well,
an airport.
I don't want to forget or bypass the fact. I think Shreveport is an easy place to get around.
Yes, 15, 20 minutes anywhere.
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 If you
The
take
traffic
30
we
minutes.
yell about is so ridiculous, and I'm guilty for
from
The
sure.
other
Oh,
day,
it's so
the
bad.
other day, I was going home. I left the BRF about 6 o'clock. There was an accident. I was backed up for 40 minutes, and I instantly jumped back to my DC days where I would have been idle for 2 hours.
On one
and I
road.
gladly, I said, look, I can accept this, okay?
So
Because
every
this-
day you were idle for 2 hours.
Oh, that was
if
my
there
mom.
was one accident, you could be idle waiting.
My mother, when I lived in Dallas, she drove an hour and a half one way every day. Every single
And you could
day.
be anywhere you want to be in Shreveport, Bossier.
15, 20 minutes.
30 minutes, you could be there.
I'll give you all a story that's hilarious, a really quick story. I go down to New Orleans quite often, love it. My friend lives down there, and she would come from anywhere in New Orleans area to visit me and have lunch or whatever. She comes in town, she goes over and has dinner in Bossier. And she texts me and says, hey, do you want to come and like have dinner with me? And I was like, oh, Bossier, that's
Yeah.
so far away in my mind. And the next, so I decline the invite. And the next day I looked it up. It was a 14-minute drive. I was like, I'm the worst friend ever. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's like,
hilarious.
oh, that's so far, Bossier. Like,
Yes.
no.
So many people have that attitude.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. And I'd sit there and then go, what? It's 15-minute
That is
drive
right. If
and
I-
there's no traffic.
If I did
Yes.
what I do,
is it the river? Is it that
They're
mentality that you have
afraid
to?
of crossing water.
Yes,
And they would
it's
just
got to
didn't
be.
know.
I'm gonna adopt that philosophy. It's the fact that you have to go over a bridge. They're
Yeah,
afraid of bridges.
they're afraid of bridges.
if you had my job in Dallas, where you drove from meeting to meeting all day,
yeah.
I couldn't have half as many clients as I
Oh,
have.
you would
Or
plan
have
2
to-
meetings a day. I'm telling you, in DC, I never plan more than 2 because they'd be on opposite ends
Yes.
I will
of
have
the city.
a meeting every hour on the hour for 8 straight hours on some days.
My travel time is actually just the 1 minute between the two.
Yeah.
I'll get there in 1 minute.
Yes, I'm gonna take 3 phone calls and be there in 5 minutes, and we're gonna be good.
Yep. There is
That's
no.
amazing.
I really don't understand it when people tell me that.
I don't
I'm
either.
glad you brought that up.
And there's so many things to do. My biggest complaint about Shreveport is when somebody says to me, "There's nothing to do in Shreveport."
you
I said,
kidding?
I was like, I have to actually tell people daily I can't make that because there's already something happening.
I'm with you.
That's true.
I'm with you.
and there are days I'm just like,
100%.
I can't. I have to take a day off.
That leads me. I want to thank you, and this has been awesome. But I want to thank you not only for being here, but being one of those people that I hope I'm getting better at being too, that will work with everyone and anyone
Yes.
who, because we all care about
We need to.
what happens in this city.
Yes.
And I've always seen you as that person, and
Thank
you do
you.
a great job at it, and I'm happy.
Great
to
ambassador
work
for
with you.
Shreveport.
I appreciate y'all
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Y'all are the best.
Thanks.
Thank you.